Dear all, good morning. At the outset, before I briefly discuss a small another article, I would like to thank all my viewers on LinkedIn and YouTube and all that one, and your nice comments and all. Uh, the and the CS on my CS story, which is published by the cast story by another young chartered accountant from Dubai, Chanteri, and I'm really appreciate their efforts in bringing together the experiences of various people in various professions. And it is more than my story; it is inspire the youngsters and upcoming youngsters in various fields, let it be CA or anything or management or technical or whatever, that nothing is impossible. And all you have to do is just focus and then spend some time and then just try to achieve your goals one by one or the other, without any time constraint, or without burdening yourself. You can achieve anything. And so it is more to focus at that point, that when the young lady has contacted me or LinkedIn, that give my details, I have briefly given some of my small experiences and small achievements. Only thing is, okay, the fraud aspect and all that, of course, all that passion and everything came to me after 60. But I could somehow manage it and then learn something. And now my very objective is only to keep updating myself and then try to briefly discuss in various small lessons on the YouTube or small articles on the LinkedIn. Now, coming back to the point of another of our lesson today, see, fraud risk management. See, all the time we are talking about various frauds. What is a fraud? What is the definition of frauds? What are the type of frauds? And that frauds can be committed by anybody. And there are employee frauds, management frauds, and all these things. And so, and then how as a fraud examiner or forensic accountant, we try to help the people who, and then try to get to the bottom of the thing in framing the fraudster and all those aspects now. But from the corporate point of view, what is most important is the fraud risk assessment. That means it depends upon organization to organization. A smaller organization, it may be much easier, but in a bigger organization, it may be much broad scope. I think we have come across some matter. And what is fraud risk management? It's a process of understanding and managing risks that the entity is inevitably subject to in attempting to achieve its corporate objectives. So there's several different types of industries. They'll have their inherent some lot of risks relevant to the industry, relevant to the size of the corporation. I'm talking from the point of view of the risk of two frauds. And so, first, the management should understand and try to identify what are the elements that their organization is susceptible to fraud at different levels, whether it is internal or external, in whatever way. See, fraud doesn't always involve money, as we have already discussed earlier. And so the thing is, fraud means it can be of anything, and mostly it is, of course, money. See, the thing is, basically, there is a there's a fraud risk. I have come across a fraud risk management cycle. So all managements, depending upon their necessity and the size and the exposure, the likely exposure of their organization to frauds, should go through this cycle, which I briefly read out, like set a risk management team and goals. Okay, there should be a see, if your organization is serious, it is not that generally you publish one book of rules, regulations, policies, and then just dump it or whatever. You see, there should be, and that's why mostly it happens like that. That's the reason the frauds keep on occurring. I think especially you see in banks. They talk of daily updating policies, updating that one, this one, that one, directions to the BMs, directions to the these meetings and all this. So all this is fine, but bottom line is, are they effective? As in recently, I have also quoted that they're not effective. They're not effective. The monitoring is not there, and something they are lacking. I mean, it's just on paper. Unfortunately, on various stages also, it is not. These are not nipped in the bud, and only after the just like. Instead of identifying an explosive before it explodes, but only collecting evidence after it exploding. And that's what is happening in frauds also. And mostly after the fraud explodes, then they are going on witch hunting and all these things to catch the fraudster, where it happened, why it should have happened, why it shouldn't have happened, things like that, blah blah. So to get over all this one, and which we repeatedly say that as a fraud examiner or as a statutory authority or something, we have to see first of all in the organization, big or small, has this set. No, they should have a separate fraud risk department, and then follow through these things, like set a risk management team with specific goals, then identify specific risk factors associated with the organization. As I just now said, risks vary from organization to organization. Understand and make an assessment of the scale of risks. What if this happens? What is the risk? Things like that. Develop a risk response strategy. Allocate responsibilities to fraud risk team FRT and implement the strategy. All the time it is only the establishment of policies in somewhere or other is happening, but it is not being effective. So that should be done. You should implement, monitor, follow up, take corrective action immediately. Then only it will be somewhere in preventing a fraud rather than ending up investigating a fraud. So monitor the strategies and controls that are laid out and implemented, and suggest corrective measures in case of deviation. Next, in case of deviation, if any changes are needed, make suitable suggestions and effect the changes. Review and refine the process as needed from time to time. You see, these are all the things that have to be followed up and implemented, monitored, everything by some specialized team, which is exclusive from the routine management team. This should be another line function with a head for fraud risk assessment, fraud risk management, with designated people under him, and then only the thing, because in statutory audits or internal audits or whatever is unless it accidentally somebody comes to know, or if an employee accidentally come across some fraud of a fellow employee or management, everywhere it is happening accidentally, or somebody blows the whistle because of something or other, due to some other personal reasons or something he come across, and he may blow the whistle, as we have discussed in the whistleblowers. You should not be like that. It cannot be that you don't find you should not be in a situation that is at present with many organizations throughout the world, that you come across a fraud and explore it accidentally, and then you do the pillar to post running up for collecting evidence, pointing fingers and all that one. And as I already said, evidence is the most important, otherwise courts will simply strike off your claims. So this is definitely lacking. Okay, this fraud risk management team and being separated and implementation of the policies, all in my opinion, is not happening. Or if it is there, then they are not effective. Otherwise, why frauds happen? Mostly. I'm not talking about cyber crimes and all these things. Okay, cyber crimes and all that is something beyond. I mean, that is something. Of course, as far as corporate concerns, data safety and all are concerned also, again these teams will help, but not on an individual basis. Individual basis you have to be careful in your monetary dealings online and all that one. That's a different thing. So from the corporate angle, to prevent frauds big or small, you should have a first assessment of things. You should identify what are the risks, then how to counter them, then what are the steps that you are taking, and what is the team, and what is the reporting of the team to the higher management, and all these things. Can any corporate prove that is happening on a regular basis? Uh, I may be wrong, but I doubt if it is happening. Okay, so this is I do not want to extend too much on this one, but only briefly touch upon the importance of a fraud risk assessment and the setting up of a fraud risk team with set of goals and designated duties, and the monitoring and the collection of information, timely action, and taken, and all these things are the highly important. And as auditors, such as or as fraud examiners or forensic accountants or external body or anything, it is also duty to advise the management, and of course the onus is on the management to take and then implement these things, strategies and all that one through a proper independent responsible department. So to highlight this one, I thought I'll briefly touch upon this one, because everything that I am talking in 5, 10, 15 minutes is not the end in itself. It is only an indication, and because each aspect is a talks of volumes of things that one is supposed to do and all these things. Okay, and so it is very exhaustive, everything regarding this fraud detection and the prevention methods and all these things. Okay, forensic accounting and all, because they all vary from company to company, and we can speak huge volumes on all this one. It's only from time to time to bring to the attention what the important points are, where it is, why things are happening wrong, going wrong. Means that it is our duty to just try to share, and then at length it's a detailed analysis that the organization is supposed to do, and try to counter it rather than running after a fraud. It is quite a difficult task, even though, in my opinion, even though there's department effect and all that, because many of these frauds are unfortunately big mega frauds happen with a hand and glove. Okay, between the fraudsters, whether it is at employee level or management level, or banks or higher, or the fraudsters, or the borrowers and all, there is some nexus. Okay, and it's all a thing, but still, assuming that those hand and glove situations are not there, at least by having these fraud risk assessment and fraud risk policies, the procedures and all that, in general, the occurrence of a fraud can be prevented in the first place. So this brief brief here, topic, brief discussion on this, touching on this fraud risk assessment. I close this one, and at length we should go into more detail. And if I come across any more details, I'll be adding up in my future videos. Thank you all, and good luck.